You are listening to Lender Lounge with Kevin Kim, a podcast dedicated to helping those in the private lending industry grow, improve, and streamline their business. I'm Kevin Kim, partner at Gerasi LLP, the nation's largest private lending law firm. Join me as we chat with the best and brightest in private lending, who are eager to share their years of wisdom and best practices with lenders, borrowers, brokers, investors, and more. Subscribe to Lender Lounge on your favorite podcast platform and learn more about Gerasi and how we can work with you at gerasilawfirm.com. Check out the episode summary for other valuable resources. Hey guys, Kevin Kim coming to you with another episode of Lender Lounge. We are on location. We are in the beautiful Bellevue office of Guimont Capital. We very rarely do this, and I'm very happy we get to do this because it lets me get out of the office, and we're no longer in the computer. Today, we are interviewing the team at Guimont Capital. We're going to be doing a special episode interviewing the principals and also doing a walkthrough of their office, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Let's get started, guys. So please introduce yourself and the company to our audience, and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Koester, and I am the Chief Legal Officer of Guimont Capital.
All right.
And my name is Daniel Guimont, and I'm the CEO of Guimont Capital.
All right. Now, for our listeners who were at Captivate this past year, they saw you guys come on the scene as title sponsor at Captivate, and we were very appreciative of you guys coming in as title sponsor. And everyone was like, all right, who are these guys? Who are these guys? We want to know more about these guys. And I'm glad we're doing this interview today, get to know more about you guys, doing this podcast to talk and learn more about who you guys are. Give us the intro elevator pitch of Guimont Capital, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
Guimont Capital, it was actually, the name actually came because of you guys. You know, we started out as LasVegasLoans.com and wasn't quite what we were representing and didn't quite know where we were going. And we decided to step it up a bit and form a new corporation under Guimont Capital. Which sits under the family office, which is AG. The title sponsorship this year was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're very new, and we got to meet a lot of great people and see some good vendors, see other people how they're doing things, and got a lot of listening in. So a lot of good information,
educational exercises.
Absolutely.
Well. Yeah.
The round table was great. We look forward to next year, both of them, and very beneficial.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what Dan was saying, I think for all of us here at Guimont Capital who we're new to the space, many of us new to this industry, and the Captivate experience was captivating. It was great. We got to learn a lot. We got to meet a lot of people. I think it was amusing. We did hear some feedback that people wondered if we were a part of the mob because we'd sort of come out of nowhere, and it's like, who are these guys? But I can just say we're not. And, we're excited to, have the partnership with Gerasi, and it's been a great running start for us.
And the business is originally founded off a family office. Let's concentrate on the lending side real quick. So on the lending business, you guys are not your average kind of RT, like with a fix and flip lender. You guys have a much more diversified perspective on finance. Give us an idea of current landscape of the business, what kind of loans you guys are concentrating on, what kind of business you guys are concentrating on as it pertains to, I guess you can call it real estate finance. Because, we had dinner last night, and I love diversified stories, and I love the reason behind why you guys do your deals. And I'd really like you guys to tell that story because that's a really cool perspective.
Yeah. Portfolio sits right now. We have everything from, a few fix and flips, a lot of raw land, development projects, both vertical and horizontal, office, tennis clubs to resorts, and from the West Coast to the East Coast right now. Primarily, what we're looking for is the first question we ask ourselves is would we own that piece of property? And if the answer is yes, we take to the next step. There's a few deals that we've closed within 48 hours that we know the properties well. We know the locations. We believe in the product, and we lend very quickly on it. Our borrowers have been absolutely great. We're learning as much from the borrowers as we are from people in this industry. Being so new, it we have a history of lending money in the past,
Right.
And obviously a lot of collections, and coming into this world, it's definitely been an easy transition. And it's been a lot of fun. It's hard not to have fun. We have a powerhouse team, and we get to fly out, touch all our assets every month, and see what
All over. You guys,
all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we love to fly into Nashville, and obviously we love Nevada. We're big in Utah, Oregon, Washington, Arizona. We're working on getting permit in other areas. And currently we service all our own loans in house, and have a really good software and baseline.
Right.
They've done great for us. I've really come on, and our CFO really likes that program.
This is a very diversified portfolio. And
Yes.
as chief legal officer, I'm guessing you're keeping an eye on all the underwriting, all the asset management.
Yes,
Right.
yes. I mean, it's obviously the underwriting process is a collective effort. I mean, I would say the sort of the legal review and underwriting process is with me, and the sort of financial review is with Tom Walker, our CFO. But we really work collaboratively, and I think our underwriting process is not cookie cutter. There is definitely leeway for some unusual buyers, unusual projects, things that may not fit inside a box as neatly as some other lenders might need it to be. And I think that's what makes my day and my life and my job here interesting, is just having the ability to kind of look at these loans and figure out, what we want to do is figure out how we can do them. Obviously, with a mind to, we want to get repaid. We want these to be, solid loans with qualified borrowers. But sometimes the story just is unique enough that they haven't been able to find a partner.
Right.
And so we're excited to kind of seek out those sponsors who maybe have a little bit more of a unique story to tell,
Right.
and try to find a way to partner with them.
That was one of the things that I really took away last night at dinner, right? The idea was, okay, we're going to look at the asset. We know what we can do with this asset if we have to take it back, and here's the value in the asset. But there was this really big human component.
Yeah.
And how do you guys assess that? It's very hard to really get that feeling out of the borrower, right? Because you can't trust your borrowers, right? That's the kind of the underlying sentiment in underwriting, right? Like, you have to assume that he's lying to you, right? So, like, how do you guys approach that human component and extract that story, but also verify and protect your assets? Because,
well, the one thing that we learned very quick is that we really trust that when the brokers say that they have a great client, that they know this client very well, and we really trust those brokers. We find that they bring us only solid deals, and everything is 100% from the brokers.
Oh, yes, of course.
Outside of that, we go direct to the borrowers. We like to talk to them. We like to figure out why they need the money.
Yeah.
What it's actually going to be used for, what their backup strategy is. People want to pay their loans back. People are intentionally out there trying to build a house or do a fix and flip or do a passion project or upgrade a resort in hopes that they fail. They want to pay their loans back.
Yeah.
I think with us, we definitely at times maybe over communicate with our borrowers. We haven't had any complaints about over communicating, but if there's any issues, we like to know about right away. We like to get beside them and help them.
Right.
We definitely come from an operating world where we're hands on. We like to operate. We like to build things. We like to fix things.
Yeah.
And watching dozens of borrowers now do that, it's exciting. And feeling like we're able to help them and they're helping us.
Right.
We want them to be successful. We want them to come back and use us again. And we do everything in our power to make sure that they hit their goals.
Right.
It's borrowing money is hard. And all the paperwork that it requires, with banks and everything. It took 15 years for us in our last industry for a bank to look at us. And,
Right.
and during those times, we paid all our bills. We would have been a good borrower.
Right.
But we just didn't find the right lender. And right now we definitely want to put the word out to, we're looking for good borrowers. And, the projects that we look at are very diverse.
Yeah.
Are there certain things that you look for? Because I hear you, right? I think that is relatively true up to a certain point. There are some sketchy builders out there. And they do some fast and loose things. And, the sentiment at Captivate and at the conference before that, I was in Newport Beach, we're talking about fraud in the market, right?
Right.
You go to the commercial shows, everyone's worried about fraud in the market, right? So borrower fraud. So are there particular things that you're looking for to, okay, I hear your story. I like your story. You seem like you're an honest guy, but you're also going in there, okay, this tells me that you're an honest guy from a paperwork standpoint.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, there is a trust but verify, right? I mean, we can't just, the story has to be good, but also then we need to go figure out, is this a true story?
Yeah.
A lot of our borrowers have come to us, I think through kind of trusted channels. So there is a somewhat of a basis of, not all these people are brand new to us in the sense that, we trust the people who are bringing us some of these deals and these borrowers. Obviously, that's not always the case. We do kick our tires. I mean, obviously, you do the basic
flying to every single property.
Yeah, I mean, we will inspect every single property. One, I mean, you got to make sure it's there. You got to make sure they're doing what they say they're going to do. We can talk to their contractors if they're already in that process. We can actually, look at the property. We can look at their other properties and kind of suss out where they are. We do ask for personal financial information, obviously, with most of these borrowers to just verify that they have, what they have.
Right.
And also, it's best case scenario if they've got some skin in the game. I mean, that is my favorite.
Yeah.
When you've got somebody who's like, I am, building this fantastic spec house in Park City and I'm already $2 million into this and I just need to finish it. It's gorgeous and help me out. And, when you've got a story like that where somebody's really aligned with you and you feel like, yeah, that's something I can trust. That's something I can believe in.
I mean, I think the financials, how much liquidity do they have?
Yes.
Is a huge component.
Absolutely.
But I just interviewed, Ben Furtick over at Constructive, and he was like, people can forge this stuff nowadays so easily.
We have had that come up.
Right.
And
the whole skin in the game thing, you can't forge that.
Right.
Yeah. You can verify that pretty easily.
I would much rather look at a PFS that shows a 1988 Honda Accord as their main driver than a personal financial sheet that shows that they have $109 million. If that comes over, unfortunately, that borrower that has a personal financial sheet of $109 million, we're not going to do those loans. We're not doing that. We want the personal financial sheets to show exactly what their situation is. And so many
hide the ball from us.
Yeah, so many borrowers they overinflate everything, and even in your own markets, they'll put down their real estate's worth more, their cars are worth more, their stock account, and especially what the private stock is worth. We're not looking at that. We're looking at the asset first, obviously, then the borrower, and we just want the borrower to be honest. At the end of the day, we do what we say we're going to do every time, and we want the borrower to do the same.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to segue. You mentioned a previous business that you were 15 years. We always want to make sure we get background of our sponsors and our guests, because what you did before all this is to me a big component of your current story, and it influences everything that you're doing. And after spending time with you last night, clearly does, right? From your borrower mentality, your customer service mentality, but also your team. It sounds like you've been with these people as colleagues and coworkers for several years now. So give me some background into Dan and what you were doing before, the Guimont Capital startup, and how we got into this. I'd like to hear more about the story.
Yeah, early on in life, started working at a young age, and had a lot of jobs up till I was about 21, and didn't quite know where I was going in life. And I had we called it Old Gray. It was a beat up F-250, and went on a job site in 1999, and I'd ask a contractor if he needed a pile of debris picked up, and I'd take to the dump.
Okay.
He said absolutely. I threw it in the back of the truck. He gave me a couple $100, and I went to the dump and realized that had made some money. Had a roommate / buddy at the time, and asked if he wanted to hop in the truck with me and start doing some runs. And, it was fun. We went from an F-250 to having an F-250 with even a worse trailer behind it, but then started landing some accounts very quickly. After a few years, we had about 20 trucks on the road. And over the course of time, we grew the company substantially. We got into a lot of transfer stations and MRFs, landfill, mining operation, very large trucking operation.
Still the kind of similar core business, though, like the idea of...
Yeah, so all recycling and
material recovery.
A lot of material recovery, a lot of trucking, got into sanitation, porta potties and street sweeping. Went through and got a private equity firm behind us in 2020 and worked real hard, did a lot of acquisitions from 2020 to 2022. And then we had a successful exit in late 2022. Took some time off and thought about diving back in and starting up another garbage company over in Nashville or down in Denver. It just wasn't for us. I'd spent my 25 years of my life at the previous company, and I put everything I had into that company. I loved it. Had the most loyal employees in the world. Had the best customers I could have ever asked for. My vendors were incredible, and it was an incredible chapter one to what we did. This is now going to be the future, and this is chapter two. Reinventing yourself is very uncomfortable. It's not easy. It's been challenging because going from garbage to loans is a little bit different. But I do look at it as back in the day at any given time, our old company was 30, 40, 50 million every month. And that's a lot of loans out there.
Right. So, I was going to ask about that. Like what you said you were lending for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So when you were when you had the waste management business, it was a side. I mean, you made a comment last night, look for the initials. And I actually was driving in and I saw them, right? So
yeah, you'll see them.
Yeah. So like, the lending component, though, there was business lending that was started back during the...
Years ago.
Yeah. And so tell me more about that then.
So lending started, the original lending that we did was actually, and some may not consider it lending, we did is ATMs. And we had
part of the business.
Yeah. And this was outside of the garbage business, but we had a successful ATM business. And, we're in a lot of casinos and bars and 7-Elevens.
So even back then, you were somewhat... pretty diversified because from waste management to ATM business, it's a very different business.
Yeah, very different. Yeah. And it was fun. But you learn the power of money, obviously, through the ATM world and transactions add up and how to grow that business. And then we started doing a lot of owner financing. So, we'd buy properties and then, anytime we sell, we'd always want to hold notes and do the owner financing on the backside. And even during that time, though, us trying to get a loan on property, we purchased in the company a piece of property just local here for, it was about $4 million, and no bank would finance us.
Was it a facility for your company?
Yeah, it was a facility for the company, and couldn't find a bank to finance it.
Really?
Couldn't find a hard money guy to finance it. Everybody wanted a substantial amount down, and it was a little bit frustrating because, we were getting a good deal on it. So the landowner actually carried the note for us, which was nice of him. And about 3 years later, we sold it for $16 million.
Was that your kind of first foray into real estate finance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that was the frustrating thing is we were getting such a good deal on that piece of property and nobody would touch it. But nobody saw.
What was it, if you don't mind me asking?
It was just an industrial piece of property, 5 acres, industrial piece that is in a good location.
Right.
But nobody saw the potential of the property. And I think, now being on the lender side, I think, a lot of what we're loaning on is we see the potential that is, in the product.
Right.
And we know what the value is.
Because you operated businesses on those types of properties before. So
from our standpoint.
Right.
And we're not scared to lend on that.
Was that the kind of, when you started doing the real estate deals in the ATM, was that the foundation of the family office, or was it founded after the exit?
The formation of the family office was more in 2019. It was time to start, thinking about the kids and the family and start putting everything, all the puzzle pieces together. And obviously after the there was a sizable uptick in the value of the family office, and now it's being very prudent with our investments and watching over them.
Okay.
Very closely. And when we entered the lending space, we started off with a certain amount of cash that we wanted to put into lending, and that has now increased a few times.
Right.
And it will probably increase.
In the 7-month window, what's the current volume?
We're at 72 million out right now.
That's impressive. I got to say, most folks don't hit those numbers in years. So that's impressive.
Our average loans are it started out a little bit higher, but we're getting them back down there now. Right. We have a few sizable loans out, and learning as fast as we can.
Right.
And watching your podcasts and learning from you guys and learning from other people in the industry. There's a lot of hard money lenders in this space and just right around the Bellevue area.
Definitely.
And a few of them are very friendly with us that have thrown us deals. And even we're on joint ventures with one of them, which has been super successful so far. And we had a good reputation in our last industry of doing what we say and treating people right. And we definitely want to carry that forward with Guimont Capital.
I like it. You're an operations heavy business, right? You are it's a B2B business, but still it's an operations business. And going from that into a financial services business, it's still B2B, right? But it's a completely different shift in
completely different bees.
I would imagine that the human skills are still going to be remarkably similar, but the outlay of the business, the landscape, the margins, everything is just completely different. Is there a particular reason why you were attracted to it?
Lending's fun, and even you can go back and even doing paycheck loans and everything that we've done. It's enjoyable.
It's the kind of the financial engineering part of it that gets you going. And
it's the one thing that I enjoy watching other people succeed also.
Okay.
And I like it when other people win and we can be in the background and know that we helped. There's people in my life that were in the background that helped me win. And without them, I wouldn't be who I am. And knowing that even in the lending space, there's going to be some times where we may have to switch our loan to equity or really help out a borrower, but to get them to the finish line, to get them to succeed, and to help them succeed, that's a massive success for us too.
That's great.
And I think through reputation, we're gonna pick off a lot of good borrowers that will come to us because they know who they are too.
Right. Are there some parallels from your former life that you're executing on right now?
I think, for both Dan and myself, we both love doing deals. I was an M&A attorney in my former life.
So you are a deal junkie.
So I'm a deal junkie to begin with. Dan's also one when he talked about the sort of rapid growth of the former company, in the M&A program from 2020 to 2024. That was me, with alongside
lots of acquisitions.
Yes. So I think in that span of time, there were, upward of 15 acquisitions that were done. And so, a big volume of my business when I was in private practice at that time, was working on deals, for Dan and his team.
Right.
And, it was a lot of fun. And so, we got to the point where when Dan wanted to start this venture, it just seemed like a natural for me because it's again, it kind of brings the deal making aspect to our everyday work and it's a lot of fun. Loans are a little different than M&A, but it's kind of a flip side of what I was already doing.
Right.
And a lot of my M&A had huge real estate components. And so very familiar with the putting debt on something.
Yeah.
And just usually from the other side. And now I'm on the lender side, which is
actually
fun.
a useful skill set because a lot of general counsel out there, they're either former mortgage or they're former regulatory.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have, or they're like kind of more on the underwriting side of the business.
Yes.
They're not really on the deal side. So they can't evaluate a deal. And so they can close loans, but they can't evaluate a deal. They can't underwrite, say, their life. And it's a very special attorney that can underwrite. I understand what underwriting is.
Yes.
Because you understand the transactional component of it. I think the counterparty risk, the asset valuation risk, not just like, okay.
It's not just technical.
Yeah. Not just the terms of the contract.
There's definitely I think with all of our loans and with all of our decisions to move forward with borrowers, there is a gut feeling component. And if we all don't share a good gut feeling, then we don't do it. And that's a really important part of, I think, how we operate, and what probably makes us a little unique is that if one person has sort of a queasy feeling about something, we all listen to it.
You got to
listen to the little voice in your head. Yeah. We've got such varied experience among the team that really makes a very cohesive kind of wraparound underwriting process. I think each one of us brings a different skill set and a different background. And I think, because we've all worked together before, we have a really natural rapport. That's why we're here. And we all want to do what we want to do.
So I want to ask about that, assembling the team, right? Because, I'm starting new, I'm reinventing myself. Assembling the team is, I'm sure, quite challenging because you were at your firm before and everyone else is probably at where they were. How was that like, when we were saying, all right, I'm coming back to the market, we're going to do this now?
It was interesting because, like I said, we originally, how we got into what we're doing actually today, is actually a very funny story because I have a good real estate buddy down in Las Vegas. His name's Jim Dahl. Jim Dahl sells real estate. Hey. Got to plug him in.
Love shout outs. We love shout outs on the show. Yeah.
No, and Jim sells a very specific piece of real estate, which, it is his majority. He can sell anything and everything from houses, condos, everything. But, he's the main broker at this very luxury RV association that's real close to the Strip in Vegas. Mm-hmm. He called me randomly one night and just said, hey, look, we got a guy that wants to buy a lot in here. I know a little bit about your history. Would you loan on it? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. I had another gentleman that I'm real close with that, him and I were just kind of brainstorming and, like, oh man, it's in Las Vegas. So we started up LasVegasLoans.com and that's what we were off to the races.
So the RV park was the first,
the very first commitment to a loan that we did. And then very quickly we found out that Nevada is not the state that we want to loan money in because we didn't have any of the permits. So we actually had to buy the lot from the individual, and then did our seller financing on it. So me and kind of the original call it partner in LasVegasLoans.com. Kind of had this vision for doing a lot of these fun loans and start up the business, and it was LVL and for about 60 days, really kind of started to form what we felt, the route we wanted to go. Mm-hmm. Him and I had a lot of fun, a lot of great ideas, and
hit poker chips for business cards. Yeah. So that's
who can't beat the line? We bet on you.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't.
PHG does the same thing. So they're a legitimate golf company. Yeah, Parsons owns it. All his reps give out poker chips and business cards. It's okay.
It's genius.
Works. You can't beat it. Can't beat it. And everyone likes playing with them. It's a nice little thing.
Yeah. Still got mine.
And then one day I'm sitting in my office and knock on the door, and employee from the past comes in and start talking and it wasn't a reaching out and trying to bring the team back together. Yeah, I was kind of on an island and doing it, and I think some people made the decision to maybe move on from the past company and came to me and had asked maybe if they could be a part of why I had going on. Mm-hmm. And so everybody kind of got a look into what was happening. And it was a pretty natural move for some people, I think. Yeah. We have a lot of fun getting into lending. Like you said, from our old world, it was 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Our phones were going, a million miles an hour.
Right.
A lot of life events happened during those 25 years that made us who we are today. Now looking back, it's interesting how life is, because, when I started that past company, I had 3 kids kind of back to back to back. It was tough. You start a brand new company. You don't know what you're doing. You have a brand new family. You don't know what you're doing. I definitely paid way more attention to the business than the children because it was important to me to try to figure out how to support and how to grow. And I think I led with a very heavy hand in that company and learned a lot. So, at the ripe young age of 47, I figured now it's like, hey, let's start the new business this year. And, had 3 new kids, more kids. So, repopulating the plant and figured
I love it.
if this doesn't work out, we can do a new spin on the Brady Bunch. And, it's fun watching because this time around, my concentration is definitely more on my 6 kids than on this. I like it a lot better.
Right.
There's not nearly as much stress, which a lot of people will definitely say, it's easier to not have stress when you're a little bit more financially secure.
Sure.
But it's still a new company. It's still exciting. You still have to learn. But, holding my little 3-month-old is teaching me a lot too.
Right.
And being able to spend a lot more time with my older kids is a lot of fun. And
you're not by yourself anymore. You got a really solid group of people with you.
I got a good group.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And, hence what the family office is.
They came to you.
Yeah.
And that tells you something because it's I miss Dan.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I will say that I was one of the people who knocked on the door when it was Las Vegas Loans. And, I kept looking at my LinkedIn. I'm like, what the hell is Dan doing? And I'm like, this sounds crazy. I got to go talk to him about it. I'm interested. And for all of us that are here, the reason we're here is there's kind of a natural affinity with working with Dan. I mean, it's exciting. It's fun. All of us kind of got here in our own way. But it was, it feels pretty natural now that we're all here, and kind of cool to get the band back together. But, I don't think it was planned. It just kind of worked out that way. It was just serendipitous.
Right. But what's interesting, I was thinking about this last night, because if someone looked at you guys from like very far away when they first meet you guys, it looks very kind of all over the place, right? Because the loans you guys do are a little bit, they're diversified.
Sure.
But
that's my brain.
But it's all over the place. But upon working with you guys, Jen works with you guys on licensing, and I've had counsel with you guys. Upon working with you guys, I noticed it's actually, there's actually a very clear method to the madness.
Yes.
It's not, you guys have easily could have come in and just like done all the things that everyone does. I see this a lot of new entries to the market that have the budget for it. Mm-hmm. They'll literally everything together at once.
Yeah.
And that becomes a very daunting task for the legal officer, especially.
Yes.
But our experience with you guys it's been relatively methodical. You're not going to get over our skis. You guys could easily go out and raise a bunch more capital, but you're not doing it on purpose. You guys can easily go out and get a huge line of credit, and you do have one, but you don't use it. Mm-hmm. Like, give me, from your perspectives, like, what's the philosophy when you guys started, and where are there some key kind of, business tactics or goal metrics that you're using to have this kind of mentality? Because I don't usually see this.
I think one of the things that actually attracted me to this new venture and to Guimont Capital as a concept was, Dan was like, I want to do everything exactly right. We're starting a new thing, and we need to do it like better, cleaner, more organized than everybody else. And I think that as a lawyer, that's like music to my ears. I love it, and it's something that, you don't just jump into something and hope you can figure it out. And I don't think that we did that. I mean, it might look like that from the outside, as you say, but there was a method to the madness. There was an organized principle.
Like, you guys could easily say, we're going to get licensed in all the states. You didn't do that.
No. I mean, we're trying to be methodical about where we want to be licensed. We're trying to be methodical about where we want to lend.
Right.
Obviously what we want to lend on, but we're sort of surrounded by one of the best markets in the country, for private lending. And so, we want to stay in this region heavily, and that's important to us. And so a lot of our focus has been on, getting licensed where we need to be in Oregon, Idaho, doing what we need to do in Washington to be able to do single family occupancy homes, Utah, Arizona, places we understand, places where we know the market, places where Dan really has a very good sense of the real estate and what it can be and what the value is there. I think that's crucially important because there are just some markets where we don't know the market and we don't want to be there. And so, I think we have restraint. We still want to grow, but it's not haphazard.
Right. Does that contrast at all to how you built the other company beforehand? Was it a lot more kind of, let's go?
The old company was pretty methodical on the old company. The word madness is a good word. And, we worked very well under stress back in the day. Mm-hmm. And, we have an amazing team. And now what's interesting is there's a lot of lending companies that we looked into, over the years to possibly even invest in, and, they're offering a nice return or how it worked. And now being in the space, we get hit up a lot, if we want to take an investor or, get into more private capital. And as of right now, we want to just remain us for right now, because if we don't know everything, I don't want to take anyone's money.
Right.
We want to make sure that we're on the right path. We want to make sure that we're very, laser focused in doing what we're going to do and create a name for ourselves in the market that we're going to choose.
One of the questions I have, you mentioned investing, because one other thing that's relatively common in both commercial and in residential private lending is for family offices, especially, to come in and not play the role of a lender. They don't want to be an operator. They come in and say, all right, we're going to be an investor. We're either going to buy loans, we're either going to invest in other funds, or we're going to provide lender finance as an asset manager, not a direct originator. Did that ever cross your mind when you're entering the space?
One of our first deals that we turned down was an equity deal, and they had lending involved also.
Yeah.
Where there's a nice investment, good equity, good return. Our angle is definitely on the lending side. We want, if a builder can make what they need to make on a project, we want them to make their money. I don't want their equity. I gave up equity too fast in my old company, and I gave it up too much, and I regret that. I don't want to take equity from other people. I want to give them a good solid loan, and I want to back their loan. And in the future, if that bridge has to be crossed because of a default or something happens, then we can cross the equity bridge when necessary. But up front, they've earned the right to have that equity. That's theirs, and I want them to know exactly what we get, and I want them to make as much as they can possibly make on their end.
Beyond the equity on the real estate side, there are also opportunities for you to be not borrower facing per se, right? You could have easily positioned yourself like, hey, we'll be an aggregator, right? We can buy up your loans, or we'll just be a family office investor as an LP. Any reason why that wasn't in the cards for you guys?
I feel like that's too passive for this team. We like interfacing with the borrowers. I think, just putting money into somebody else, or buying notes or something that feels relatively transactional. It's I kind of almost no different in a way than like buying stock. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be a very successful strategy, and I know lots of people employ it, but I think the reason we enjoy being the lender is because we like working with the borrowers. It's actually, we like the interaction. It gives us something to do.
Your hands and you're interfacing with the people.
We're actually interfacing with people and their projects. Right. And, it's exciting to see something get built.
And we can help them on their projects.
Exactly.
We have developers that we lend to right now, and the call comes in and they need help financing a piece of yellow iron, a D6. And
for the uneducated, what is yellow iron? What is D6?
Yellow iron is excavators, loaders, dozers, mining trucks, you name it. Anything. It's
big,
called yellow
equipment.
iron.
That's painted yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Most of it's painted yellow. Back in the day, a lot of ours was painted blue. But obviously Brian, who's on our team, that's his world. So a developer calls up and needs help finding something. Brian goes out, and gets probably a better deal than what the developer can from our history. We can loan on that piece because we're very comfortable with it. And we're hands-on. So, if we can help our builders, if we can help our developers make more money, be more successful, we have a long history of construction, demolition, developing, and we can offer some sound advice to a lot of the borrowers. Advice that nobody gave us, in the first 20 years.
Right.
It would have been helpful, but now we have a team that we're very open and like to share, and we don't want to create a borrower and have them stay with us forever. We would love them to be independent and get better rates with the bank and be able to do it a different way, or use their own cash entirely. Seeing their success, like I said, makes us happy.
And I think with our, some of our loans to businesses, is exciting, particularly for me, because often they're looking for capital because they are going into, purchase another company or expand. And that's something I'm very familiar with. And so I can actually kind of lend them some advice as they go. Obviously not representing them as counsel, but
there's so many flaws when people go out and
I've seen it all. I've seen how everything can go wrong. And particularly when people are, growing a business and borrowing money, those are two very risky things to do. And trying to integrate a new company or a new team.
They only look at the financials. Like, you're not even looking at the principal. What are you doing?
Right. No, and that's actually another piece of it is, we've all kind of been through that, and we counsel people who are looking perhaps to borrow money from us. They may never do it, but we can talk to them about, here are the things to think about as you consider this next step in your business, this investment by your company, this borrowing you're thinking about taking. And I think we have a unique perspective that we can actually give them a lot of help in kind of navigating that process as well, beyond just perhaps lending them the money.
And I want to touch on that real quick. The diversification of the portfolio. You guys have multiple, I call them verticals in lending business. You have different asset classes. And I see families do this a lot. Family offices especially, they're a little bit more asset class agnostic and they're more deal focused. But as they evolve in their business cycle, they tend to find a niche that is accretive to them in the long term. Like the last family we interviewed, they started in the whole ABS lending, and they ended up in kind of the resi multifamily lending, and they dabbled in commercial, and they didn't really like it, and they ended up doubling down in resi. We've seen other shops out there that are family offices kind of go the other direction and go double down in commercial. There's a very big one in LA that only does ground up construction, 10 plus million, CRE only. Is there any kind of rhyme or reason on your guys' side as to why it's so diversified? Are there plans to kind of narrow in, or?
Currently there's no plans to narrow our scope. I mean, we have lines of credit out for businesses right now. We have acquisition loans that we're doing for some businesses to acquire other businesses. And then obviously, heavy in the commercial and residential spaces, and industrial and office. I like being diversified. In our past life, we were very diversified. We'd always, in every meeting, it's how many legs under our table do we have? As everybody knows, the office space hasn't been the greatest thing in the last 4 years. But heavy industrial has been amazing. Who's to say in 6, 7, 8 years, 2 years, it doesn't swap. So if you're heavy only in one, I like being diversified. It keeps us a little bit busier. It keeps us, we have to have knowledge in all of it. And I think our team is definitely bright enough to be able to go out and kind of get the temperature of every market that we're in. Washington is absolutely an amazing state to lend in. Utah, like I said, has been really good, and there's a lot of pockets across the country that we want to get involved with. Even for us, finding in the future we're going to find the right bank eventually, and look at what a relationship like that looks like for this business, and I mean, it's amazing how relationships start, and I gotta give another shout out to Scott Henderson. It's Henderson X. Capital, Utah, because he was the first broker, that we ever had. Amazing individual, honest as the day is long, and I mean that. Has brought some just very, very, very clean, well underwritten deals.
It's a rarity to find in a broker.
And the most amazing thing that they brought us was day one, you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
They had us.
I also got a drink.
they had us use you on our very first loan ever.
Yeah.
And because of them that we were able to even do the conference and everything, and he was there, and he's a broker, but he's it's slowly even turned into more of a friendship, and I really respect the guy.
Right.
He's got a good solid business, and he's taught us some.
Yeah.
So
it's great when you find people who you can form a partnership with, and a business relationship that is mutually beneficial and is built on trust. And that's a difficult thing to find.
Hard, especially in financial services, in mortgage. I mean, the broker market, there's a lot of brokers. Everyone's a broker.
Oh, I know. They email us every day. And I know they're all out there hustling, and I get it. I mean, it's a competitive space, and there's just a lot of people out there, and we hear from a lot of them, and it's you kind of when you find a good one that is a good, like I said, partner, that's invaluable to all participants in the cycle.
Even brokers, every day, everybody can pull up their LinkedIn. If you have if you're following in the space, anything, the first 40 posts are going to be just funded, and you see it from small to big to everything, and everybody's very, very forward with what was just funded.
What deal they just closed?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've done a lot of them, and a few weeks back, we're all sitting around a table laughing because, the just funded on our side isn't there. That's not really an exciting day for us. The broker made money, which is good. The borrower received the money that they needed for their project, and we're sitting either with an interest reserve or a promissory note, and that's kind of when we are on the hot seat now. That's the beginning of our business.
That's the liability kicks in.
Yep. We have less money that day. It's not a celebration or high fives. Our first loan got paid off a few weeks back, and that's where just paid kind of started to happen. That's what we're going to start praising. It's like on the just paid, that means the deal came together. The borrower did what they said. We did what we told them we'd do. And the loan is now closed.
Right.
Everyone won.
That's just close.
And that's
celebrating
amazing.
the exit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's an M&A thing too.
It is.
You're celebrating the final iteration of the transaction. You're out.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's the day. That's the day we make our money.
Yeah.
When we get the exit, that's when we make our money.
Right.
Right.
The just funded is when we have less money.
Yeah, I saw you guys started posting that. I was like, that's going to shake it up a little bit, especially in commercial. Because that's never done in commercial. No one celebrates a payoff ever.
And we'll list every borrower that pays us off. If somebody can give them a better deal, if somebody can work with them and do better than us,
right?
We welcome that. We came from a space with a little bit of competition,
right?
And competition's great. We also do things for our borrowers that I think a lot of people, in the lending and finance world might not do. We stay in touch with our people, just like, they're our customer. We're in business because of the borrowers.
Right.
Yeah. And we absolutely respect them for that. And people are going to have hard times. We're going to have defaults. We're going to go down those roads, but we're prepared and we know our borrowers.
Right.
And when that happens, I think it's going to be, it's going to be a smooth transition too. But, LinkedIn's going to be getting hit with a lot of just paids from us. And because that is the, that's when we open up the bar,
I like it. I mean, it's a different way of thinking, and it's the right way of thinking. If you think about it, lending is, you to your point, but it's also, that means that you are a good lender because, ultimately the deal went through exactly as planned. that means that credit to your underwriting, credit to your servicing, credit to your risk management. And because there probably are going to be bumps in the road during the term of the loan. Risk management is where you solve those problems.
Right.
And you've gotten out of it completely unscathed. And that's especially in commercial right now, it's not common. It's not common at all.
I think the communication piece is key. When I've been on the other side, on the borrower side, and, I always would tell my clients, if something's going sideways, the best thing you can do is communicate early and often to your stakeholders. And, I take that on the flip side too, is we need to open lines of communication so that our borrowers have that same feeling and don't hide things from us if things are going wrong, which things do. I mean, that's just life. And, we'd rather be there to figure it out and help them through it than find out about it when it's too late or, the only answer is foreclosure. It's a path, but it's not a win-win, obviously. And we try to, build things in a way that, both sides are actually getting what they want.
And I have a question about that, because as this grows and as this starts to scale and volume starts to increase, law of large numbers will dictate, commoditization to some degree. And you lose that, I would say, you see it all the time, right? Companies that go from, 10 million a month to 100 million a month, their volumes are great. Their team is growing, but also the borrower experience changes significantly.
Sure.
And how do you, first of all, what are kind of the long-term goals for Guimont Capital in the lending business? Because you said you're going to stay diversified for the time being. Is there kind of a long-term, here's where we like to be from a volume standpoint, capital deployed standpoint?
There is. When we started, we all sat down, made a 10-year plan, which, is a long plan. I actually have to say, the lending world is simple compared to our past when it comes to customer satisfaction, borrower satisfaction from our standpoint. At any given time, we had, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 customers. And, going from our first customer in 1999 to our 6,000 customer, we strive to make everybody's experience the exact same from day one to the last. We were always forward with our customers and always trying to push, making sure they knew that we respected them.
Right.
And Brian, who's on our team, has an amazing ability. We touch our assets every month. It doesn't matter what state they're in. It doesn't matter where they're at. And he gets to go out and surprise, a lot of the borrowers at first and, take them out to lunch, go buy a cup of coffee, get to know them. When the loan gets paid, let's have dinner. Let's celebrate that win and let's get you on to the next one. So when we can build our base and our reputation, and as we grow, we're only going to grow as fast as we can grow and still be committed to that. I know a lot of businesses say that. Everybody says that. Oh, we're going to be customer, customer this, customer that. We have owned that for the majority of our lives. We definitely listen, and bad things happen, and we want to know. We don't want to hear about it from a bankruptcy lawyer. We don't want to hear about it. Borrowers go through, divorce. They go through deaths. They go through life changes. And by all means, we're not going to be the company that is going to be forcing them down a path of losing everything. Bad things happen. And I do feel that banks have an obligation and lenders have an obligation to have their borrowers back during those times. Right. And if you do, you're going to build yourself a lifetime borrower too. And
there are many firms out there. Kobe was a good example, right? They took it upon themselves to really take care of their borrowers and they doubled their business in 21, 22, thanks to that. But to achieve that, right? To achieve that level of customer service, borrower-centric approach where you're going out and touching the asset and celebrating those wins. I mean, the staffing requirements for that have got to become. I mean, we interviewed a gentleman named Kevin Werner out of Chicago, and they have they're very customer centric. They're a resi shop, but they have so many people on the team that take care of their borrowers. And so, you got a decent sized team for a startup at 70 million. It's a small team.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to hire a bunch of people to get there.
Eventually, I think, we'll grow as needed. If we have got the commitment that Dan talks about to the experience and how we want to conduct business, definitely. I mean, if we're 72 million out, if we're 172 million out, we probably could still say the same. If we're $1 billion out, then we're going to have more people on the team. But I think that process of growth is just something we're excited to do, but also to, make sure that we're doing it right.
Doing it right, though, like, is there going to be a thing that gut checks you on that one? Like,
the one thing, and you see it and hear it all the time, higher quality, not quantity. One quality individual can go out and touch, a lot of borrowers.
Agreed.
Another thing that I will say, it is kind of a different space that we are in.
Yeah.
I mean, our average loan size right now is, knocking on the door about $6 million.
Yeah.
So once we scale up, and in a year or two, 200, 300 million, your average loan size is 6 million, 7 million. And you do have the more one-offs of 25, 35, 45 million. We're not deep into the 100, 200, 300,000 fixed flips.
Right.
And we're going to have a massive amount. The larger loans seem to have come to us naturally right now.
Huge demand for it. I mean, the banks are out. Yep. A lot of the legacy shops are out of business, and CMBS is dead. I mean, there's nothing funding out there, so you have optimal time right now from a CRE standpoint,
and we love it. And that dollar amount is very comfortable.
Okay.
We get hit up a lot for some what I would call massive loans. 100 million plus.
Yeah.
We have not gotten comfortable with any of them yet. We could definitely deploy, but at this point, nothing has made sense.
Yeah.
Anything at that dollar amount, I mean, every T has to be crossed, every I has to be dotted, and we really have to get behind a project. And currently,
and those deals take almost a year to finish it, pencil correctly. It's very complex.
Yeah. It's
different.
Pretty awesome. But 10-year goal though. In our reality, we want to grow by 100 million a year.
Okay.
10 years, we'll have $1 billion under management. We have a lot of money sitting on the sidelines that has expressed interest in coming in. Mm-hmm. So if we do open the doors to, outside capital, we know that our first go around will be pretty successible. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that watched our first go around that I think have a lot of faith in what we do.
Okay.
And there's some people that are excited to write some checks. Yeah. But this first year is just it's been so much fun already, and we're not we still got 6 more months.
That's the interesting part. Like, ordinarily, even at this stage, you're getting your sea legs, but you guys are already $172 million out in the street. That's no sea legs, right? Yeah. That's a
gotta get out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But our last world, I mean, it is adding a zero was very interesting in our previous. You go from invoicing out 100,000 a month to $1 million a month to 10 million a month to and you just keep growing that. The numbers are. It actually kind of surprised me at what most have under management that we've met. I thought a lot of the lenders were a lot larger than they were.
Yeah, I mean, the exposure that you guys had in our space, though, it was at our conference. Yeah. The interesting part, at least in the resi side of things, so in the SFR, fixed and flip construction industry, I would say 20% of the market is held by the top 10 guys.
Yeah. Right.
Then you have 80% of the market that's held by everybody else, right? So if you look at the top 10 lenders in the country, these guys all, on average, do about $1 billion a year plus in volume, roughly about $1 billion under management or more, depending on the sponsor's type. These guys are like a select, 10 companies in the space. Not all of them show up, right? So and not a lot of them need to show up. Like, some of them are owned by big Wall Street bank, right? So they have no need to show up to anything. Right. They're just doing things on their own. But when you meet the local guys, they're all just trying to hustle, get up there. In the CRE side, though, that's a whole other ball of wax, because these guys, you would never know what their back office looks like, because there's some giant life insurance companies behind the scenes cutting all the checks, right? So their balance sheet may look minuscule, but their actual capital source is several $billion behind the scenes, just buying up everything. So it's a weird it's a veil. You'd be surprised as to kind of like even your local competition. Some of these guys have the ability to fund a lot more than they actually hold. Yeah. And that raises an interesting question. Like when you guys were in the waste management business, you grew through acquisition as well. Any thoughts on any vision on growing through acquisition in our space?
Not currently. We definitely want to be knee deep in it. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're about ankle deep into this. And before we started even looking down, kind of down that down that path.
Right. It's a possibility, but not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you gotta learn how to operate first, right?
Yeah. And one big thing that we know for a fact, as we grow, the first PE firm that backed us in, call it 2019. The reason we went with that firm was that the ownership of that PE, the actual private ownership, would put 33% of their money in every deal, no matter what. So it's the family office that put 33% into every deal. The capital that we have inside Guimont Capital right now, will obviously grow over time. And, once we get to our goal, we see that we are going to be easily 33% of every deal also. In this first couple of years, if we go to market, we're going to be, 50, 60, 70%, 80% in every deal that we touch. There's a lot of confidence in everything that we lend on. And we want to make sure that anybody that, trusts their money with us knows that we're putting our money first. And, we take theirs very seriously. I'm excited to get to that point.
Yeah.
But to rush it would be the worst thing we could do. So for one of the first times in my career and stuff is being patient is good and getting a good loan tape and getting some history behind us.
All right. Yeah. I think we're running out of time, but I want to ask some final questions to you guys both about more kind of, I would say, business, entrepreneurship kind of stuff. Next 5 years, what excites you the most?
I think what excites me is really kind of firing up some development projects. We've got some opportunities to do some interesting development projects. I mean, on our own and with partners. And I think that's going to be a really engaging and fun process.
The deals out in you, right?
Yeah, it's just, building something new. I guess I didn't really realize I had any entrepreneurial bone in my body for a long time, because that's not really what you feel when you're working in a law firm, but turns out I do, and it's fun. And, I think that's something that all of us can participate in, and that will really, really give us some fun stuff to do every day.
The stuff you guys showed me earlier.
We've got some really cool ideas. And, I think that's gonna make the next 5 years a lot of fun.
I think for me, next 5 years is building a business the way how I want to build a business. Our first business, like you said, grew fast, everything, and there were changes that I would have liked to make. But when you get to a certain size, it's very hard to go backwards.
Yeah.
So the next 5 years is a brand new education and making sure that we do it perfect this time. Perfect is a very scary word. Doesn't exist. Got to do our best to be there. It's exciting, having my older kids work for the company and being close to us is great. The next 5 years, it's going to bring a lot of joy, I think, for me.
Right.
Because a lot of loans are going to get paid back.
Yeah.
And we get to deploy the money again.
Right.
And then we get to do it again and again. And I'm excited for all the people that we get to meet, and all the shows that we get to go to. And like I said, it's like I'm the 47-year-old virgin in this industry, and I'm loving every minute of it.
I love it.
So next 5 years is just going to be, get us to the next level.
I like it. All right. I think that's all the time we have for this episode. Stay tuned for another special little snippet we're going to do later. But thank you for joining us today on this On Location podcast. I love doing this on location. You guys have an amazing office. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Our listeners, you can find the Guimont team where?
Bellevue, Washington at GuimontCapital.com.
All right.
Yes.
Not LasVegasLoans.com.
We still own it.
Still on. One day.
One day we'll fire that up.
All right. So GuimontCapital.com. You'll also be at the upcoming trade shows in our industry. So if you want to come and chat with them, please find them there. This is Kevin Kim for Lender Lounge, signing off. Hey guys, Kevin Kim here for Lender Lounge. We're doing a little special snippet. This is a new thing we're doing on the show. We're going to do an office tour with our recent guest, Dan Guimont from Guimont Capital. We are on location. So what better than to show off their new office? Dan, First, walk us through even the foyer right here. This is really different. I have never seen any shop do this before. So give us more color about this.
Very talented artist, all charcoal. Everybody's got their pictures up. We figured, hey, let a very talented 18-year-old draw us all up and see how they turned out. And something a little bit different. Looks good, and really, really happy with.
It came out wonderfully.
Yeah,
every team member is going to get one.
Everybody.
I love it.
Hopefully, need a bigger wall one.
A bigger wall. Yeah. And laying out the office for me, it's beautiful. I mean, is there a theme to the kind of the layout or the design of this?
Yeah, pretty much what we went for. We wanted wide open. Everybody shares everything, and kind of went for a hotel lobby theme.
All right. It definitely looks like a hotel lobby. Yep.
A lot of workspaces, a lot of sitting area.
Yep.
For conversations, and just feels like home.
For sure.
Yeah.
It looks like out of the Restoration Hardware catalog.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So one interesting part about your office when we were doing the walkthrough earlier is your conference room is unlike anything I've ever seen. This is very Washington, and we are in the tech bubble. Give me what do we have here? What is this?
So conference room. If you want wide open, obviously you can have it wide open. If you need everything closed, you can have everything closed. It's just kind of a fun little design, and Washington, we get a lot of gloomy days, so the more open the space is, the nicer it is.
Yeah.
And they work as great whiteboards for us. So
did you guys put these in, or would they come like this?
No. So this space had these in, which thank goodness, because I don't think we could have ever thought of it. It's
a fantastic idea.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Oh, they're a lot of fun, and usually they're open.
Right.
Opens up the space. We've got a good amount of square footage, so it's nice to be able to have events and everything else here.
Right. Lots of windows. You can see the bay, or is it the Sound? Is that
so Lake Washington's over there in Seattle. We've got downtown Bellevue, so we're on the 10th floor here, and we were up on the 17th, and this space came available, so decided to bump down here. And
a little bigger, or is it a little smaller?
Yeah, a little bit bigger. Wow. And we've got the 180-degree view, so we got west and east, and going all the way down south there. So
fantastic.
It's a good spot to be.
Right.
A lot of banking happens in this building, so get me a lot of good people, and this space is just more of a kind of our lounge and kitchen area, bar. Which usually happens about 3 o'clock every day.
I like it.
So gotta have those happy hours, and just the amazing views of Bellevue, and then on a clear day, Seattle's right there, and
And when your borrowers come in, they must. This open. Where do you meet your borrowers? Over here, over there.
We're usually couching it up.
Yeah.
We're usually on these couches, or we're on the other couch.
Okay.
Conference rooms aren't really my thing, but you got to have them. Every once in a while, bankers have to come in, and you got to make them feel comfortable. So put them in the conference room.
All right, we're entering the pit.
Yeah,
so actual where all the work gets done.
Yeah.
So before we go to your office, I got to ask.
Yeah.
Let's pan around here real quick. What's with the A&W sign?
So A&W sign, I got a call years ago at one of our transfer stations that got dumped by somebody. Came off of A&W restaurant, and I just absolutely love it. So it's followed us around for years, and
it's been with you for
for about 15 years now, and it's just cool. Cool sign that came in.
Yeah, it's a great piece of Americana too.
Yeah.
I mean, A&W is a historic restaurant chain. They don't see them many anymore, but I used to go there a lot in the West when I was with my family there. Yeah. Let's go into your office and check it out.
Little office, like to call home. But, it's nice and get some business done. And,
right.
Kind of definitely a lot of family photos and a little bit of history. So it was a fun little build.
I mean, you're obviously a Seahawks fan.
Definitely a Seahawks fan. When you're born in 1976, you got to be a Seahawks fan.
Right.
Founded in 1976. You guys support the team? Definitely support the team. So got some seats there, and it's been fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great sports city.
Yeah, good organization. Got obviously Mr. Walker here, aka Tom. So he's always plugging away, and got Jake Goldfarb, one of our newest associates, also just plugging away. Got Riley, one of my oldest boys here, who's off to Japan January 1 to do a little studying abroad, which is we're all excited for.
Fantastic.
Get to come back and be able to speak some language that I can't. Junior, which if you've met him, you know him. My Junior and I have been together now for 27 years.
27.
27 years.
So you know where all the skeletons are buried.
Yeah. Deep holes.
I like it.
Melanie came to us. She does a lot of our events and puts on a mean lunch and charcuterie board.
Oh yeah.
Which, we all definitely appreciate. Kind of got the kid area back here, and
this is different because this is not we don't see this in most offices. So you got is this a lounge or what is this?
It's just if we bring our kids to work and borrowers or anyone else bring their kids, it's a comfortable place for them. They can watch TV and play their video games. Always got some candy, some crayons.
Yeah.
For teenage kids, we got all the video games and some other stuff.
And you have classic video games.
All the classic video games, got to have them.
You got to get a little shot of this over here. We got pinball machines.
If you can't beat Frogger,
and you got the old school arcade. That's something else. And this is so when your borrowers or your team members have to bring their kids into work, and they love it. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Super comfortable, and it's their spot. We're not allowed back here when they're here.
I love it. I love it.
We got Carrie's office, obviously with Mrs. Burns. She runs everybody's life. Literally everybody's
the glue
life.
To the team.
Yeah, thank goodness. Kirsten, who keeps us out of trouble. And she's kind of representing the Las Vegas thing.
Oh yeah,
obviously, which we gotta love. And I think they fought for the private offices. I see a theme happening.
I like it. I like it.
Could be a.
And I like the open workspace. I mean, this is much better than everyone's confined to an office or a cubicle array.
And another thing for other people, if you ever have a server room, you can also make it your wine room. Which
gotta keep it cold.
Cold enough, it's always a good idea.
Yeah.
So spirits and cocktails. No, thank you for coming out.
Absolutely,
I greatly appreciate it. Making the trek, and hopefully
we had a great time.
Yeah, keep doing some business, and both companies keep growing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. You've been listening to Lender Lounge with Kevin Kim. Brought to you by Gerasi LLP, the nation's largest private lending law firm. Gerasi is the leading legal resource for specialty lenders, asset-based lenders, private lenders, and non-bank institutions. Learn more about the firm at gerasilawfirm.com. That's GERACI lawfirm.com. Check out our episode summary to subscribe to our Lender Lounge newsletter and our law firm newsletter, where you can get notified about new episodes and recent content directly from our expert attorneys. In addition, we'd love if you follow Lender Lounge with Kevin Kim on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, and on LinkedIn, where you can also check out updates from Gerasi LLP. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Lender Lounge with Kevin Kim. This is Kevin Kim, signing off.